Right, so here we are for the third tutorial. We've done the base and we've done the upright, and now we're doing the third part, which is going to be the bracket, which plugs into these two holes here. We're actually going to create two identical brackets, one that plugs into these two, and then we'll print that a second time and it'll be able to plug into these two. And that create a stand that sits along the width of the phone, the width of the upright that your phone can slide down and sit on top of. Now the reason we're doing two brackets rather than one is just to open your mind to some of the opportunities, so when you start designing your own project you can think about how you might be able to use that for yourself. So let's get into it with a new design. Command S to save, using our same naming formula. This is the fifth time I've tried it. I've tried lots of different methods, so let's 005. We'll hide away the data panel, and we're going to start with a rectangle. We can put it onto this view. Now the rectangle is half the width of the upright, which is 40, and the height of it I'm going to make 12. And then I'm going to spin around into the front and zoom in there. And then onto this, I'm going to put the two circles that plug into the existing holes. So I'm going to click C for circle, and then I'm just going to randomly drag a circle anywhere here and put 5 in, press enter, enter. Now I'm going to dimension this up the correct width. So from here to here, I know that dimension is 10. And because this is 12 high, I want that to be half of that, so D that up, 5, from there to there, and then it's already 6, so that's correct. Now that's the simple way to do it, and if you don't like maths, just do it like that. If you want to know a better way to do it, you can watch this little bit now. I'm just going to undo what I've done. If you don't like maths and you just want to skip on, you can. So let's just undo all that. A better way to do this would be to dimension this like this, from center to here, drag it up. But that dimension should be this dimension here, divided by 2, divided by 2 again. And then this dimension here should be this, click this, drag that out, and that should be this, divided by 2. And that way you know if we go and change these dimensions later, or not 60, all the dimensions will change with you, which is you've set your parameters down, which is a good thing. Anyway, so let's now put our circle on the other end. So see here, drag 5, enter, enter, D, center to there, drag that up, divided by 2, divided by 2, and then let's try that again. So those are all in place. Scroll around to the home view. Now I need to do some extruding here. We're going to take these two, and we're going to extrude them out 3 millimeters, the thickness of the acrylic, the clear acrylic. And then we're going to extrude again. Let's go back to the sketch. And we're going to extrude that one out. Remember how it was 12 high? We're also going to extend it out 12, negative 12, so it goes in the correct direction. And that's the start of our basic bracket. I'll zoom in there. And then on the edge here, I'm going to put a little upstand to stop the phone sliding off the bracket. So I'm going to draw another rectangle. Rather than clicking on these views, I want to draw the rectangle directly onto the surface. So I click onto the surface, and then I click and drag my rectangle. Now the dimensions of that are going to be 4 by 40. Now, I made that 4mm because my phone is 8mm thick. So I've got 4mm there and then another 8mm there to add up to 12. So you might want to tailor that dimension so it's going to fit your phone really nicely. And I've done it when I've measured that with the case on as well. So that's a consideration for you. And then I'm going to extrude this surface here. So E to extrude that up. Just drag it up. I'm going to come up 4mm. You can see I'm repeating all these like 12, 12, 4, 4. I find if you repeat all those shapes, that tends to make your design look well proportioned. And all we need to do is put a few fillets on this to smooth it off a bit. So let's click. Press escape. Let's press F for fillet. We'll choose these three surfaces here. 2mm? No, that's too much. 1mm. You don't want that to be too curved, otherwise your phone won't sit back in there properly. Okay, and you might want to roll this around and fillet this bottom edge. Oh, that's interesting. Now you can fillet that as much or as little as you want. We're going to have to come back and fix those holes in a minute, but that's not too hard to do. So click OK there. So that gives us that cool shape when we look at it from the end. One other thing that's worth doing is coming in here to our modify, grabbing our chamfer tool, and just on the ends of these, putting a tiny little chamfer so that when we push them into the holes, they locate or they slide in there nicely. 0.5. You'd probably even get away with smaller than that. I think you'll find that that'll just make everything a little easier to assemble later on in your project. So click OK for that. Right, now we need to fix that mistake we've got there, and it's kind of good actually because I can show you how to use the history tool to go back and repair something that's wrong in the past. So if you come along here, you can see you can slide this tool along and it undoes all the last steps of your drawing. Now where we went wrong was way back here when we extruded this, because for that extrusion we extruded the wrong part. So we want to 2-finger click on here and go Edit Feature. And can you see here how we extruded back, but when we extruded we forgot to extrude those two circles. So it says here we've selected one profile. We'll click back here and we're going to select that circle and select that circle as well. Now you can see 3 profiles are selected, and we're going to go OK. Now just to check that's right, let's spin around the other side. You can see this time it's extruded the whole surface through. It hasn't left those holes behind. Back to home, and then we should be able to unroll our history marker, and all those changes we've made have come back, and we can scroll around there and the holes are gone. So even though that was a mistake, it's a really nice example of how to use that history marker to change your drawing if you do make a mistake. Now, when you're drawing, one measure, or the best measure of an excellent drawing, is a very clean history timeline like this, with not too many different features in it. If your history timeline is stretched all the way along the drawing like this, that means your drawing is far too complex and you've done far too many moves. So you should be able to keep it really simple like this. As I said, that's a sign of a good drawing. So let's swing that around. Again, we need to change our materials. We'll have to do it body by body and change all 3 bodies. But we can do that, that's no problem. Body 3, physical material. And we should be able to get down here to ABS plastic, that's close. We might have PLA in here if we're lucky. PET, no. Just seeing if there's anything else close. No. So ABS is probably the closest plastic to what we'll be using. So that was right up the top. And that's just the white plastic. I guess if you want it to be a different color, you can drag a different one, but let's drag that ABS plastic onto there. And while we're at it, we'll get body 2 and body 1. So those are all done. Now, you can, that'll do for now. If you wanted to make it a different color, you could do a little, you could trick it by two-finger clicking on, oh, sorry, let's just close that. Two-finger clicking on here and going appearance. And now you can bring up different materials again. Opaque, so it's solid. And here you've got a bit more of a, so normally when we print it, it's a sort of, it's more of a matte color. So you could choose one of these colors here. Let's pretend we're going to do it green. And drag the green onto there. And it's just going to change the color. It's not going to change the material, the physical material, but just the color. Right, so that one's all done. Let's save that. And we'll have a look over here in our data panel. Right, we've got the 3 components that we need for our completed stand. So from here, we're going to move on to our 4th tutorial, which is the assembly of those parts. So let's end this here, and I'll see you again shortly in the next tutorial.